So I personally know another INFJ in the real world in my life. At least I think he's an INFJ. He's definitely an intuitive feeler. So um, I'm going to try to tell this story and tell you how it's kind of affected me and my own way of feeling out other people. Um, it's kind of a long story and I'll probably be a little rambly, but bear with me. So I met this man because he went to the same church as me. I think I've known him at least 10 years, maybe even longer. And we have never been, it's not like a close personal relationship, really. But initially, when he first started coming to church, and I think even before I ever even spoke to him, I knew there was something different about him. And there was a draw there. And I'm not talking about like an attraction, like I was attracted to him or anything like that, but there was a draw. And he always, you always sit, and if you go to church, you always kind of sit in the same place. Oh, we have Leo again. He wants attention, of course. You always kind of sit in the same place. And, I sat in one place with my children, and then he would sit behind me or near me. And there was always kind of this draw, like there's something different about this person. And then the few times that I initially spoke with him, I knew right away that he could read me, see into my soul, as we say. And I have to say, right away, that made me uncomfortable. I did not like that. And I know that we can read other people, see into their soul, feel their feelings, know what's going on with them behind their mask. But when someone else can do that to you, when that happened to me, it was very uncomfortable because, I have this, of course, my dogs are barking. I have this protective mechanism around myself, and I am sure that a lot of you do as well. So when I go out in public, to church or to work or to the store, even, I have these like walls up, and I have this kind of controlled sense of self. What's going on in here and what's going on in my heart. I kind of keep that under control. And I don't always have a good sense emotionally of exactly what's going on with myself anyway. So if someone would ask me, how are you feeling? I don't even always know. I end up mirroring back to them what they are feeling. So it was kind of an unreal and almost disturbing experience to have someone mirror back to me. And, different situations, we were both involved in leadership in the church. So then, there was different things, different situations where we would converse with each other. And he was always able to, especially when it came to, like prayer time, like I needed prayer or we were praying over our leaders or different things like that. He was always able to exactly pinpoint what my needs were. And that was off-putting to me. I wanted to avoid this man because it was as if, I felt vulnerable. And I do have a deep-seated distrust for men. And I don't know exactly where that's coming from. I'm sure I will figure it out as I continue therapy. But I had like a distrust and a guardedness around him because of that. And it wasn't like I sensed any ill intent. I did not sense any evil coming from him or any um, bad feelings. It was just that it was almost like an invasion of privacy. And I often wonder, I felt intimidated. intimidated. I felt very small. The child part of me wanted to run and hide, not speak to him, not definitely don't make eye contact, because that felt very uncomfortable. But it's just so weird. But at the same time, there's a draw, because to have someone actually understand you and have someone actually know what's going on is so refreshing, because I wouldn't have to try to explain my own convoluted, confused brain to a person that completely understands, because they have the same convoluted, confused brain, where there's a million things going on, and everyone's background is different. So, one INFJ to another INFJ, or another intuitive, speaking to you, of course, their insight and their reaction is going to be different. So, but anyway, he and his wife are, he does watch my videos, and I don't have permission to talk about him, but I am anyway. Sorry. Sorry, friend. He and his wife are missionaries, and they left to be missionaries for 5 years. They had a post. So then for 5 years, there, basically no contact. I hadn't seen or heard from either of them, other than updates through their ministry and church and stuff. So, but recently they have come back, and I see both of them. Well, I see him more regularly because I cut his hair. And we've had some really excellent conversations at the salon, during appointment. And then if I, God willing, it seems like I always have a little bit of time to talk, so that's usually set up. But that I have an opening after him, so then I can talk a little bit. And yeah, it is. And he did ask me recently, when I see him, what do I see? So I kind of filled him in on some things that I notice about him. And then that made me discover that I have these walls up when I am at work, and I almost put up a block to absorbing other people's emotions to protect myself, because, as a person that absorbs, an intuitive feeler, and just absorbing emotions all day, you can imagine in a 10-hour workday working with the public what you would pick up and how damaging that might be to my own self. So I realized while I'm at, these dogs just keep barking. Hang on a second. So anyway, yeah, I just, we all talk about how it would be so cool to, get together and have conversations with each other, and actually have, like all of us together, instead of being sprinkled all over the earth like fairy dust. But I have to tell you, as a person, and, I know that we're not all the same in our backgrounds and in our, what we've been through in our lives and in our protective systems for ourselves. But, knowing another person that could read me like I can read people, and knowing that they can do that, and feeling that they can do that, and having my stuff mirrored back to me, it's uncomfortable. And at the same time, it's healing, because the things that I don't understand, or that I don't want to see maybe about myself, having them kind of called out in a loving way, of course, it's good. So that is my experience with another person like me. It's interesting. It makes me wonder, do other people, are they able to tell? Can they feel that I can read them? Do they know? Are they able to pick up that I can see into their soul, as you say? And is that why a lot, I feel, I pick up a lot of times when people first meet me, and even after they have known me a while, that they're intimidated, which always just cracks me up so much. I always just cannot understand why someone would be intimidated by me. I'm not intimidating. And it's usually just an initial response. And I have to wonder, is it because they can sense or feel that can see through them? Or is it a spiritual thing that they can sense in me? I think it's probably both. But there's my little chit chat about that today. I hope you got something out of it. I'll watch it back and see if it made any sense. I think it would be super cool to have a bunch of us together, but yeah, that it's interesting. It's a little disarming. Feeling vulnerable is not a comfortable state for me. I am very guarded, I'm realizing, especially out in public. At home, of course, I'm not. I'm much less guarded on camera now than I was, when I started this months ago. And yeah, so have a good day, guys. I appreciate you so much. Live and love out of the way you were created.